Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is Shocktober 2025, episode 18. But before I begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this series. Let me know how you feel about the films I'm about to highlight. So for today's episode, I figured I would do something a little different. I was going to do this a little bit earlier in the week, but my good friend Dan beat me to the punch. And I'm talking about anthology horror. I've got 5 films here that are basically horror anthologies. One of them really isn't, but you'll get the gist when I get to it. So without further ado, we're just going to bust right through these. And I'm sure most people have seen the majority of these films, especially Creepshow. This is from 1982. Directed by George Romero, screenplay by Stephen King, starring Hal Holbrook, Adrienne Barbeau, Leslie Nielsen, E.G. Marshall, Ed Harris. Great cast in this movie. And to me, this is the godfather of all anthology movies. It's the best one, in my opinion. I absolutely adore this film. 5 different stories in a wraparound. This one right here, The Crate, is my favorite. I love The Crate. Right behind it, though, is Something to Tide You Over with Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. That one's a lot of fun, too. We can hold our breath, Richard. If you've seen the movie, you know what that was. But anyways, yeah, Creepshow, it's a classic. I absolutely adore this film. Then a couple of years later, they came out with the sequel, Creepshow 2. Now, some people prefer this movie to the original. I do not. There are 3 stories in this one with a wraparound. Stephen King is only involved with The Raft, which is the best story of the 3. This movie's just cheap compared to the original, and I hate the cartoon wraparound, but I do love The Raft. I think that's a great story, and I kind of have a soft spot for The Hitchhiker as well. The Indian story I can take or leave, but again, this isn't a horrible movie. Like I said, there's an awful lot of people who prefer this to the original. Why? I have no idea, okay? It's watchable, but to me, it's nowhere near on the par of the original George Romero classic. But the second choice today is Creepshow 2. Speaking of Stephen King, we have Cat's Eye. Now, this one really isn't a horror anthology per se. It is an anthology. It's 3 separate stories with a wraparound. This one is directed by Louis Teague, and it was written for the screen by Stephen King. Like I said, it is 3 stories. The first 2 stories are based on previous published short stories from the Night Shift collection, The Ledge and Quitters Incorporated. The third story with Drew Barrymore and the Troll, he wrote directly for the screen. And the reason why is because he met Drew Barrymore on the set of Firestarter, immediately just fell in love with her and decided he wanted to write something for her. So that's how Cat's Eye came to be. Of the 3 stories, it's the weakest by far. But Quitters Incorporated with James Woods and Alan King, the first story, is worth the price of admission alone. It is fantastic. I enjoy this movie. A lot of people don't, but I do. This is a good gateway movie for kids. It really is. So the third selection is Cat's Eye. And hey, let's keep that Stephen King train going. And George Romero from Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Now, this one is based on the TV show that George Romero was behind, Tales from the Dark Side. And again, this one has 3 stories. The middle story, The Cat from Hell, is based on a short story from Stephen King. The other 2 are not. One is based on a story, I forget. Never mind. It doesn't matter. George Harrison directed this one, and it had each segment had a screenplay from a different writer. Michael McDowell wrote the first and third story. George Romero wrote the screenplay for the second one. Great cast in this one: Deborah Harry, Ray Don Chan, James Remar, Christian Slater, Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore. This is her very first movie, her debut. Again, this movie's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this movie a lot. Outside of Creepshow, this one's probably my second favorite anthology horror movie. It's a lot of fun. So from 1990, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Moving right along, this one came out in 1995, and we're talking about Rusty Cundiff's Tales from the Hood. This is an anthology story, basically, where the bent on this is that the main characters of each story are African American, or the stories themselves are about African Americans. But this one is great. This one's great. Corbin Burnson from L.A. Law is the star of the second story. He plays a racist pig who gets attacked by these little dolls, and it's awesome. But the real star of the show, to me, right there, David Allen Greer. Now, David Allen Greer is mainly known for his comedic work from In Living Color, Boomerang, Jumanji, a lot of movies. He is a abusive stepfather in this movie, and he is chilling. He's great in this movie. I enjoy this movie. I got to give a special shout out to Clarence Williams III, who is the mortician. He's the crypt keeper, so to speak, and introduces each segment. And I've loved that guy since the Mod Squad. So the fourth selection today is Tales from the Hood. And we're going to wrap it up with this one. This is one of the newer additions to my collection. My good friend Carlos over at Eastwood for Life Fan sent me this recently. We're talking about Trick or Treat, starring Dylan Baker, Anna Paquin, Brian Cox. This is a real fun movie. This one is directed by Michael Dougherty and written by. And again, this is an anthology film with 3 separate stories with a wraparound, and this one's a lot of fun. Sackboy here is become like an icon in his own right. Like I said, my good friend Carlos sent me this. I never owned it up until this. I had seen it before, and I really enjoyed it, but for whatever reason, it just kind of slipped through the cracks for me whenever I was buying movies from Scream Factory. And Carlos was nice enough to gift it to me. So I'm going to take this opportunity again. Thank you very much, Carlos. It's a great movie, and I love it. So the last recommendation today is Trick or Treat. If you haven't seen it, please, by all means, do so. It's a lot of fun. It really is. And that's going to wrap up today's edition of Shocktober 2025. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave those comments below. I want to remind everybody of a couple of things. Number one, today, the 18th, Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, which is in about 2 hours from the time that I'm recording this, will be the next live edition of Shooting the Shit with Jim. My very special guest will be Bryan at the Horror Punk. So I hope you can join us for that show and show Bryan some love. We're bringing Bryan back on Tuesday, which is the 21st, for the next edition of Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. That one will be on Sean's channel at Movie Assault or at the Talking Movies 2024 channel on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Our guests will be Bryan, the Horror Punk, as I said, and also Larry, the Horrorcat Dad. And our topic that day is going to be franchise horror films. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite franchises and not just covering the biggies. Hopefully you can join us for that show as well. The last thing I want to mention is that if you have not done so and you want to enter the giveaway, please go over to episode 14 and drop a comment that you want to be on that giveaway, or find the community post and do the same. The drawing will be going until this coming Friday, which is the 24th, I believe. And then the winners will be announced next Saturday on the live show of Shooting the Shit with Jim. And my special guests for that episode will be Kara and Mika from the Double Feature Podcast. And that one will be on the 25th. I hope everybody's having a great day. We'll catch you on the next one.